this is Kathy, and you have reached me on a Friday Sews, and welcome. I really appreciate you taking your time and hanging with me on this Friday. Today I'm going to have 3 different chapters to my video. The first one is going to be about some purchases I made. There's both fabric and patterns. And then the next chapter is going to be about a planner I purchased, a happy planner. And then after that, I'm going to talk about how I added warmth to some of my fabrics and some of my clothes. And when I say warmth, I'm not talking about the temperature, I'm talking about the color warmth. And lastly, I'll consider it bonus footage because I had a pretty quiet this week on just like my life. And so I just took some snaps and added some music to it. And if you'd like to watch that, I'd appreciate it. And I am now going to get on with the show. So I made a few purchases this week. As you know, I like the Bob Woven Pants by Style Arc, and they had a pattern sale. Now, many of you, when I featured the Bobs, said that they went to the berries and never went back. And especially after I was trying to do some pleating in the front, I didn't realize that the berries did that. I just didn't know. And then this past week, I think it has ended, they had a 25% off sale. So I purchased the berry pattern, and so I got it for $7.50. And then I don't know if you know it, but every month Style Arc has a pattern, 2 patterns that are free with a purchase. And last month, this was one of the choices, and it's called the Olivia dress. So I got that for free. And then another one of my favorite pattern companies, although I had never bought from them, is Friday Pattern Company. And I had been eyeing this sagebrush top for quite a while. So I have it, and I do not have it in my plans yet, but I'm sure it will get there very soon. And the other blouse that I really love is this patina blouse. And I've got that already cut. And I'm gonna make it in a white linen chevron pattern. And that'll be pretty soon on my makes list. And I've just really enjoyed wearing the woven tops I made. I felt like I had splurged this spring because I have bought 3. I got the Lamont, let me see if I can do this, the Lamont, the Wren, and I didn't think I could do it, the Atelier Jupe one that I love. But anyway, so I had gotten 3 and I felt like that was enough, but I just like those other 2. And then the last I can't show you, but I'll show you a picture because I ordered it paper copy from Friday, and that is the Ilford jacket. And I knew I had in my plans for sure. I'm just itching to make a jacket. And the advantage of the Ilford is that I can make it for my husband or myself. And I had another, I'll go through that in the future. The future me will discuss this, but I had another jacket pattern that I'm not super happy with, so I wanted to replace it. And so hopefully this Ilford will be the solution. I did buy a couple fabrics also. And if you recall, what you probably thought you would see this week is the glissandos made up. And I did make them, but I made an error, so I have to remake them. And so I bought a little fabric to replace that. But they are having that fabric 50% off. And so I picked it up in another colorway. And I bought enough of this. I got 2.5 yards. And that'll be enough to make pants. And I got it 50% off, like I said. And then the last thing I made, or I purchased, I should say, is a planner. So I will be doing some pics, and I will voice over some of what I'm going to say. But basically, I have, you know, I run my calendar off my phone like everyone does, but I still really enjoy seeing a week at a glance, or sometimes a month at a glance on paper. And I have it upstairs on a cart that I just have out all the time. And I use the 365 planners, and they are made by me and my big ideas. And basically they are the ring ones. And so the advantage of those is that you can take the, sorry for the shine, you can take the papers in and out. And so I've been using that for years, but I had gotten really cheap and just started shoving papers like this in it and had not really bought a new one. So when I saw that they came out with a sewing one, I just had to give it a try. So let me give you a little bit of a review for that. So this is what the front of it looks like, but when you purchase it, and this is the cute back, but when you purchase it, it's really encased in a lot of plastic, so it's really hard to look. So I've taken it apart off screen so that you can look through it with me without having to do all that. So when you get it, it also has this in front. And what that's telling you is that it's really not good until January of this year. So again, I am going to start using it sooner because I'm just going to put some of those pages in. The next thing you're going to see is that on the back it will give you the layout in a little smaller form, but again, I'll open it and I'll show you the layout in real. And then the next thing you'll do when you open it is there'll be these cute little 2 pages of stickers. And so you can use those as you would like. And then like a title page. And this pattern, or this calendar, excuse me, it has monthly and weekly calendars. It has dividers, and then it has a sewing glossary. So the sewing glossary, I'm going to page 2. Looks something like this. So that's kind of cute. And then before that, you're going to have 2 years that are very, very much at a glance. 2023 in that size. And it takes up 2 pages. So if you're really, really planning out, you can use that. Then every month you have a pithy little saying, some beautiful art in the neutral colors of taupe and rust and sage green. A little bit of flower with it. And then as the month at a glance, as you can see, some of the lines they changed to stitches for a cute little accent. Like at the bottom, they have a little pin cushion. And then this is what your week's going to look like. There's 8 grids, and of course there's 7 days in a week. So then there's an extra little box right there. And then on the opposing side, you've got your kind of your to-do lists. And again, they've got some little sewing icons, and there's a little sewing machine. And it says, looking ahead, notes, important, and tasks. So that's what the weeks look like. And then at the end of every month, you have 1 extra page, and it says, sew all the things. So if you wanted this to be your like month rough sketch of what you hope to accomplish, there's 3 boxes. Of course, we all sew a little bit more than 3 items, but you know, it's cute. And that back page has 3 categories called sketches, project review, and fabric swatches. And then after you're finished with that page, then you're going to go on to the next month. But like I said, what's fun about these is that you can just pop them out gently. And then I can put that anywhere I want. If I'm focused on this page for a particular week, I can just pop it in there with that week. So yeah, so that was one of my fun purchases. I've always liked calendars, and I hadn't bought one in quite a while. And like I said, it doesn't really start till January 23rd, but they were having a sale, and then I got an additional 20% off. So it was $17. Obviously, I think it would make a good gift for the right person. You can't really, that's kind of a personal thing on how you use your calendars, but if you know the right person, it would be a good gift. And yeah, maybe you could get it for Christmas or something. Okay, next thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is color. So you might have seen my color video, but the long story short is I'm trying to achieve a warm, muted color palette of clothing. And so some of the things I own, are not those things. So I thought, well, perhaps I could dye some. So I looked up a recipe, and it's called Winter White. And like I said, I didn't want to drastically change some of my items. I just wanted to kind of shove them into a warmer palette with some muted, hopefully. also, and I thought, let's see if we can try that. And so I followed this recipe, and it was 4 to 6 cups of water to boil, and a half to 1 cup of salt and stir it, and then a half a teaspoon of dye. Okay, well that didn't sound like very much dye to me, so I thought that sounds right. And so I put a half a teaspoon of dye. I used this because that's what it called for. It's golden yellow. That was one of the choices. And I don't know much about color, but I'll tell you this is not winter white. So that wasn't what I was going for. And then here's a control, if you can see the difference. That's just white. So I backed off the amount of dye, and I still got more saturation than I was interested in. Plus it just didn't seem like the warm muted tones I was going for. So I thought I better reinvent. And by now I'm tired of doing this hot water situation, so I started using the washing machine. And let me pause and I'll get my next supplies in order. So after using the bright yellow, I decided to go to a tan, which is really what my instinct told me to do the first time. And again, I started using the washing machine. So I would fill it with hot water and then add some dye. And then 10 minutes in, you add a cup of salt. And the salt like sets the dye. If you're using a plant-based fiber, if not, I believe you use vinegar, but don't quote me on that. But the directions are on the bottle. It's pretty easy. So the first time I did it, I again just got more saturation than what I was wanting. Now, I'm not saying this is ugly. It's just not what I was wanting. I misplaced my little, oh no, here we go. This is pretty good. So this is white and this is the color I have. So I backed off dye. We got something like this. And then I backed off more dye. At this point, I'm just grabbing anything. And I've got pictures I'll insert also. Little less. And then I am currently making the berries out of this fabric. It is the one I featured before saying I'm gonna make a set. So I'm in the process of making that. But after I bought it, I thought, ooh, is that a little even too cool for my color palette? So I have experimented by adding the marigold dye to a swatch of it. Now this is still, again, it's probably more saturation than I'm gonna use, but I think I might go ahead and try this process after I've made the garment. A lot of YouTube videos that show how to use dyeing, they're just using little pieces like this, but you know, you need to do a whole garment, right? So I'm gonna make it up first. Just for the fun of it, I did go ahead and, oh, excuse me, dyed something that was already marigold, and it made it a little more orangey, I guess you could say. And then the last two I'm gonna show you are successes, but because they're successes, they probably aren't gonna show up on the camera all that well. But here is the control, and then here is just a little different shade. And same with this. It was already pretty muted, but then I added just a little color. And then on that one, I would say that the white was okay, but the gray was too cool, and that would just cool down the gray. So, and then the last thing is, if you haven't figured it out already, I dyed this shirt. It's just an inexpensive shirt that a friend gave me, so there was really no risk. And it was brilliant white, and now it's not. So I think it's pretty good. So that's what I've been doing lately with my color story. Okay, so the next part of my video is I'm going to show you my favorite sewing book. Now this is one of the prompts that Jen of Today in Jen's Sewing Room, the creator of Friday Sews, and thank you again, Jen. This is just a great community where you and I can come together and we can talk about our sewing. And although I am on a film and out there on YouTube, why don't you go ahead and just comment, and we can share our journey together, and others can read your comment also. And then while you're there, go ahead and subscribe. But this is my favorite sewing book. Now, it was my first ever sewing book, and I had been sewing for about 8 months. Now, I'm a lifelong sewer, but I hadn't been sewing garments, and you kind of know the drill. And The main thing that has changed, if you're new to sewing again, is the fibers are different, and specifically probably Lycra has made the biggest difference in our last 10 years, 20 years of, sewing. And this was on how to sew activewear. And I went from not hardly knowing, or not really sewing many knits, to sewing activewear and sewing it well. Like, it is amazing the information they have here. And the way she sets the book up is that you don't have to have a cover stitch and you don't have to have a serger. Like, she gives you 3 ways to do everything. And I did buy a cover stitch after I, read this book, and then I got the opportunity to go back and learn how to do it using the cover stitch. And she also, her name is Joanna Lunstrom. She has a YouTube channel called The Last Stitch. She is such a good teacher, guys. I'm telling you, she is a really good teacher. But anyway, I forget where I was going with that, but I just really made some good athletic garments using this book. There's just a little thing on flat lock seams. It's been a while since I read it, so I can't tell you exactly how it's all formatted, but she has a lot of examples, a lot of different body types. She's just a very thorough person. She's been sewing her whole life, and she's very methodical and really thinks things out. So she's a great author, and that's my favorite sewing book. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this week, and so it was great talking to you. I do have a little bonus footage after I sign off here with some music, and I had kind of a just doing life week. Like, I didn't do anything too special. Yay. I love weeks like that. So since I didn't do anything really to report, I just took some snapshots of things I was doing, and I've set them to music, and if you'd like to, you can relax and just watch the rest. And thanks for coming. See you next week. What facts belong, it's hard to say. Your pattern is so hard to tell, but we're together, that's our game. Round and round and round we go. The dance ain't over, I'm sure we're still the same. Love the ways you make us whole. Would you say if things ain't right? Look away, what's really going on? What's really going on? Would you tell me, can't you say what's really going on? What's really going on? That way, but it's down the bottom in the hole. There's no sane ways, there's no explanations. I've got things I tend to moan in these times.